Okay, we are recording. Anya, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. We're recording this after a weekend of I think the storm had a name. I don't know what it was called, but it was pretty windy, right?
Yeah, Storm Dara, maybe something like that.
Dara,
I think so.
right? Storm Darren would have been a bit more English, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? It would be a lot. No, it was so windy. I was driving back to my parents this weekend, and I genuinely felt like my car was going to get blown off the motorway.
Really?
Or is it one of those drives where you have no music on, like you're gripping the wheel very tightly? It was raining, and I'm not a very good driver, so it was not pleasant.
I'm glad that you're the same. That like, if you need to like focus on the road, you have to turn the stereo off.
No music. If I approach a big roundabout, music's going down, and it's like it doesn't affect my vision, but for some reason I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
music's on.
Well, you said you visited your folks, and we'll get into your sort of formative years a little later on today's chat. Where are you now? Your background doesn't give a lot away.
I'm in London. I'm in my flat in London.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, look, let's kick things off, and the first track I always ask guests, Anu, is to tell me the track that you think has the greatest ever intro, please.
Very difficult one, but I would say Maine by Noah Khan because that little guitar picky intro is like so iconic. It was one of the first Noah Khan songs that I fell in love with, and I love him so incredibly as a lyricist and as a musician. So for me, that's the song with the best intro.
Um, I've asked this question maybe 560 times on every episode, this one, and I never quite frame it right, Anya. But I'm really curious to ask you this because as a new artist venturing into the realms of pop music, I'm very interested to know what your take's going to be on this. So you would have grown up in a world of, I guess, there's streaming's been probably quite prevalent in how you've consumed your music over the years, which is very different from myself and other guests that may be older than you. And so, what I've kind of noticed is, with any sort of streaming service, it's awash with new artists constantly, and and so that kind of puts more pressure on an artist to really stand out and grab that listener quick. And I think we see in, certain aspects of pop, there's, almost that science to getting that algorithm to work that, you hook that listener, in the first 5 seconds of your track. Um, as an artist, I wonder if any of this, the changes in how people consume their music and the power now that things like Spotify and TikTok and things have on getting your music out to an audience, how much of that pressure to hook a guest and to hook a listener, sorry, quickly filters through into your creative process?
I think I think anyone's lying if they say they don't think about it at all, because you can't help but think about it. But I think that my least favorite thing to hear in a session or when I'm working with anyone is this would be great on TikTok or like that'd be a really good no, no, no. TikTok's not going to be around forever. So I think my take on it currently, it probably will change every year for the next bajillion years. Um, is that a good song is a good song no matter what. So
Yeah,
I think I try to write the best song I possibly can and then think about the marketing. And I work in a marketing day job. My little muggle job is in that. So and I really find that interesting. Like aside from music, but I think I try to separate the two as much as I can creatively and like write the best song I possibly can, and then pick the bit from it that I think is
yeah,
when I'm on the marketing side that I think is the most marketable, and sort of use that for my like short form content on socials and
sure,
stuff. I think I less focus on the first few seconds of the actual track. Obviously, like if you have a long intro, some people will be like, cut that off for radio or da da da. But I less focus on that, and rather I'll pick the bit that I think is the hookiest or like the most
yeah.
interesting, or sort of just whatever bit I have an idea for. for a TikTok video because honestly, sometimes I don't have any ideas.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's kind of, I guess that's how I would do it. I'd try and separate them, but you're always thinking about it. I could write a line, the first line of a song, and be like, oh, I already have an idea for how I would try to get people to come and
Yeah.
listen to it. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to like be an influencer, which is a very valid job in itself, but a whole other realm. I'm just trying to get more people to hear the full song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever I could do to grab them to make them want to hear the rest. Hopefully, is what I'm trying. Is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to. But I could not.
All right. And I'm going to take you back for
Okay.
the next track. And I'm going to ask you, please, to tell me this first song that you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Okay. So I was a really big Ed Sheeran fan growing up. Still am huge Ed Sheeran fan. And his first album came out when I first sort of started to actually listen to music. I think, growing up, I listened to what my brothers burnt onto a CD for me. That was like as far as it went, or like whatever was on Disney Channel. Um, and I remember watching. I used to come home from school and watch music videos on YouTube. And I remember watching the Lego House music video because it had Rupert Grint in it from Harry Potter. And at the time, I don't think I realized I was really emotionally connecting with the lyrics of any of Ed's songs, but I just really, really liked them. It was the first time I think I really liked the way a song had been
Yeah.
written, realizing that's why I liked it. But I remember Lego House and also A Team both having those really emotive music videos. And I think that's what, because I was only probably about 11.
Yeah.
I didn't relate to them in any way.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, a very straight laced 11-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Um, I remember feeling quite emotional when I heard them, whether that be because of the storyline or because I was hearing something that I really connected with, like musically. I really think those two were quite important. And then my mum used to buy me, whenever I did a piano exam, she'd buy me like a sheet music of like pop music, like a book because the piano exams were in the piano shop, and so that was one of the ones she bought me around that time. She got me the Plus album, which is it's ridiculous to play on piano because they are all guitar songs
Yeah.
that they're like trying to plonk away on my piano and learn them. But yeah, sorry, a long and rambling answer, but that's probably that song is probably the most, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about where you grew up and if home. I mean, what you've already said about your parents and your brother burning your CDs. Tell me a little bit about how musical home was as well.
So my parents aren't musical at all. But I think so I have two older brothers. So I think when they had us, they were like, you're going to be good at everything that we're not. So it was like, let's get you all in music classes. So growing up, all three of us played the piano and we all picked a different instrument. And I picked the flute because I went to see my brother in a orchestra concert, and the girl playing the flute had a really nice headband on, and that's the only reason I chose to play the flute.
Yeah.
She looked cool. And then we also all play the guitar, but I taught myself the guitar actually a little bit later in life. um, my brothers learnt when they were younger, so we were all quite musical, and I was always in like musical theatre and acting and stuff. um, and I first sort of started writing songs. I would take Hannah Montana songs and I would rewrite the lyrics, which is so embarrassing now. But I guess it was my first like way of
Absolutely.
yeah, writing bits. But no, my parents aren't musical, but they always had music on.
Yeah.
My dad loves smooth country in the car, having that radio station on. And my parents used to always get us the Now. That's what I
Yeah.
call music CDs. So you'd get one every year. And in our stockings, we'd each get a CD every year, and I still have them all in my car. That's like my car collection of music. So
Yeah.
I've got One Direction CDs and like the McFly and the Busted CDs. So we were musical, definitely, but
Yeah.
all in our own separate ways.
And where was growing up? Where was home?
Cambridge.
Cambridge. Okay. Oh, that's a lovely place to grow up.
Yeah, it was just a little village just outside of it. But it was so nice actually. I was back this weekend, and you sort of look around, you're like, oh, this is actually a lovely city. It's you've got the whole city side of it, but it's not that big.
Yeah.
Um, very like very big pub culture, lots of like green open spaces.
Amazing live venues.
Yeah, amazing. Corn Exchange, so good.
Junction.
Junction, so good. I think
Mm.
one of my first ever like gigs where I went without my parents and like with my friends was at the Corn Exchange. I went to see Catfish and the Bottlemen.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I was trying to be really edgy. Not that edgy. I look back and I've got like my flannel around my waist and like eyeliner on. Get to a One Direction gig right now.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you tell me the first song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
So I had a purple iPod Nano, the small
Yeah.
ones. And yeah, my brothers used to put songs on there, or they'd take my CDs and figure out a way to get them on there. And I used to listen to Over Again by One Direction all the time. I would put my headphones in and like walk into school and pretend that I was in like, I don't know, a sad scene of a movie. And there's that line that Niall Horan sings about his heart being shaped like a polo because there's a hole in the middle. And I loved it. So that song was like constantly on repeat when I was pretending to be like an emotional, angsty teen. Or rather, not pretending, I was being one.
Yeah.
But nothing was happening. I was just pretending I was in like a breakup scene of a movie.
But when you know, at the time when you was listening to that, you was probably listening to One Direction the way a lot of other teenage girls were listening to One Direction, because they were marketed very well, and you know they probably had some of the best songwriters on the planet writing their songs for them,
Yeah.
and and now when you listen back to it, I'm sure you still get that hit of nostalgia. But do you listen to it now as a songwriter and kind of deconstruct it and actually look at it in a different way to how you did then?
I think I do that with a lot of songs. I do listen to a lot of songs, and I'm either really judgy on them or I'm like, oh my god, this is so clever. But I feel like with One Direction, I was in my head, I was a massive fangirl. I now look at fangirl culture and I'm like, oh, in my head, being a massive fangirl was going to one gig in your life, and getting the CDs for Christmas. But I wasn't like getting them the day they came out and going to every gig on every tour. Um, in my head, I was a really really big fangirl, and it was just before social media sort of like came in, so it was just you and your friends would chat about it. And I just loved their music. I loved them. I'll have to say, I did love them too. I was a big X Factor girly, bought into all of the like the dream of it all. Um, so when I listen to it now, like I have it on my like walking to work playlist or like my getting ready for a night out playlist, and I just try to. Some of the songs I'm like, come on, you didn't just say that. Or like, look at the other ones and I'll be like, oh my God, actually, this is a bit of a well written bop.
Yeah.
Uh, I just try and listen to them all as like sort of throwback songs and not deep them too much because they remind me of such a gorgeous part of my life. Like I went to see One Direction at the O2 and it was the first gig I ever saw at the O2. It was like a big deal. My mum came down with us. Like we had our posters. And our embarrassing merch outfits and like there was a Louis Tomlinson bobblehead in one of the photos. We were really big fans. And I look back at it and I'm like, that was peak childhood for me.
Yeah.
I had posters all over my walls, which did my parents' head in because they had a massive thing about blue tack in our house, and I was like sticking them up everywhere. So I think I don't deconstruct them too much because to me they're like a little bit more than just songs that remind me of such a beautiful part.
Yeah, that's lovely.
But everything else, yeah, I deconstruct so much. All the solo projects, not safe from me.
Yeah. Did you enjoy school?
I liked school, yeah. I was, yeah, as I say, I wasn't like a naughty kid. I was loud and opinionated, still am, but I was like pretty down the middle, run of the mill. Just had a really good group of friends. I'm still friends with them now, which is lovely. And one of them's literally right next door, um, doing her little day at work. So I had a good time at school. Yeah, I sort of had two brilliant older brothers who were a few classes ahead of me, and my parents were really involved with everything. I had a I'm very lucky. I had a good childhood.
Did you know what you wanted to be when you was at
No,
school?
I wanted to be a lawyer and a vet and a teacher. I wanted to be everything under the sun, and I never wanted to be a musician. That was one thing I never even dreamed of being. And I think it's because it's just not often presented as like a viable career choice.
Yeah.
Um, I actually got asked to go back to my old school last year and do a talk on non-linear career paths. Um, which was interesting. I tried to see the compliment in it. somewhere deep in it.
Yeah.
It's not presented as something that the music industry as a whole, actually, it took me till I was 20, basically 21, to even realize there were jobs in the music industry. I very naively thought all artists wrote their own songs on their own in their bedroom, because to me that's
Yeah.
what writing a song was. So I went to uni to do English lit and drama, and I was then going to go to drama school to hopefully do musical theatre, but that was right in the heart of COVID, so that kind of was off the cards.
Yeah.
Started posting stuff on TikTok, and just honestly, if I'm being genuinely serious, for attention. It was for nothing else. I just quite enjoyed posting things on the little app and getting views, and singing my own silly little songs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it was presented that that could maybe be something you could pursue as a career. So I took a gap year to do it. I'm on my third gap year. I don't think we're going to be doing any grad scheme applications anymore, but I was doing grad scheme applications at the same time as taking Zoom calls with managers and
Yeah.
labels. It was really weird. They'd be like, "What have you done today?" And I was like, "So the Vodafone HR grad scheme had its final round today. I was filling out that." So yeah, I never really knew what I wanted to do, but there's loads of things I want to do in my life.
Yeah.
Music is the one that kind of shines the brightest to me and makes me feel very happy. But there's lots of other things I love and I do currently, and I probably will still always do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you now to tell me the first song you remember buying from a record shop, please, Anya.
So in the centre of town, there was an HMV. Used to love going with my mum and my brothers. We'd go with like our Christmas money and stuff. And I remember, this is so rogue for me because I'm just not huge fans of either of these artists, like in the way that I would go in and spend my pocket money on their music. But I got a buy one get one free of the Katy Perry album with, I think it was the one of the boys albums, the one that had Hot and Cold on it, and Jason Derulo's self-titled album, and I got those two and I rinsed them. They're still in my car.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it must have just been that they were the only two in the buy one get one free or something.
Yeah.
Um, and I liked Riding Solo and I liked Hot and Cold, so I thought I'll get those.
Yeah.
And I played them non-stop. I really loved them.
There's some solid pop music on there, right?
Yeah, and it was just yeah, it's I usually think my decisions through when it comes to spending my money quite rigorously. So I have no idea why that was sort of what I went for, but I very clearly remember going in with my brother, and I think maybe my mum was like, "Let's hurry up, come on, just pick something, let's go." And I was like, "Well,
Pressure's on.
pressure's on, you got to get to the till, car parking's running out." So yeah, it was those two.
So have you, as you've got older, have you kind of found yourself sort of walking past like a record shop in Cambridge that might sell vinyl and having a little kind of flick through that? Has that appealed to you yet? The kind of resurgence in vinyl?
Yeah, so actually, for my 21st birthday, my housemates all got me a record player, uh,
Amazing.
which was such a nice gift, really thoughtful. And they got me the best of ABBA as my first record.
Fantastic.
So good because it's just all the hits. Um, and so we play that a lot in our flat, or we did, and I've lost the cable that connects the record player to the wall now. So that's now we don't play it so much. But I need to, I'll find it at some point. I'll probably find it when I next move flats and it will appear somewhere. But other than that, I've not, my dad has loads of records at home and I've flipped through them. But I've not gone out and bought loads of vinyls.
It's
Probably
expensive.
expensive as hell. And we don't have anywhere to store them. I live in like a small London flat at the moment. We don't have
Yeah.
anywhere nice to store them. But I always think one day, hopefully, when I move somewhere bigger, I'd love to have like a corner of my living room with, shelves of vinyls and
Yeah.
a player. But I'm away so much and I'm out of the house so much that
Sure.
I don't get much use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very pretty
Absolutely.
decoration at the moment.
Well, look, one of the things that being young generally involves is going clubbing. So I'm going to ask you now for track five, and you to tell me the song that soundtracked or is soundtracking your year's clubbing. You're still brand new. You should still be clubbing.
I'm not clubbing as much, but I'm more pubbing. But clubbing, that was like uni time for me, and I lived with five other girls
And where
in
was uni?
Exeter.
Oh, wow. So you got the Cavern there, the live venue?
You got the
Yeah.
cabin. I went once in Freshers Week and I never went back. I was not cool enough for the cavern. I was at Cheesy Tuesdays every week, and that's it was also just a trek. It was down a massive hill, and you had to walk back up the hill. And students are lazy, and I was a lazy student. But we lived in this house of six girls who are still my best friends, and we used to put a speaker in the middle of the stairwell, so everyone was listening to the same music, getting ready. And you'd be running out of each other's rooms, being like, "Can I borrow this top?" and "Can I have this pair of jeans?" and everything. And I think the song that reminds me most of that is "Shout Out to My Ex" by Little Mix, because that's like the genre of music we used to get ready to, because we all had different music tastes, but everyone could agree on like a good girly pop song.
Yeah.
And uni, you're going through breakups, boys are being silly,
Yeah.
girls are, we're all being silly.
There's your anthem right there.
Literally. And we were like, well, that song, whenever anyone was a bit sad about a boy, we'd play that song, and that was every Tuesday and Thursday, to be honest. So
That got rinsed then.
really did. And I'm sure there's other songs that we listened to that were much cooler, but I
Yeah.
still listen to Shout to My Ex every time I get ready. It's still
Yeah.
on. I mean, I'm still playing the same playlist.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really good one actually. That really brings back good memories.
Oh, that's an absolute banger. Well, from clubbing, we're going to go home and we're going to go home to your home county. And I'm going to ask you to tell me a favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
Shall. So I've gone with East Anglia instead of just Cambridgeshire
I'll
because
let you have that. I'll let you have it.
sorry thing. I know that's kind of breaking the rules, but only because Ed Sheeran is obviously from East Anglia, and any claim to him, I'm going to use. So he really obviously reminds me of home. And my favourite song of his is "You Need Me, Man, I Don't Need You," which I think is just one of the most impeccably written songs I've ever heard. I listen to it probably about twice a week, every week. I do think the song of his that reminds me most of home is obviously "Castle on the Hill."
Have you
But
been to the Castle on the Hill?
I've been to the Castle on the Hill.
I don't live round there. Even I've been to the Castle on
The
the Hill.
Castle on
Come
the
on,
Hill.
Anya. Sort it out, mate.
Okay, I'll make sure I go. I'll go at Christmas.
He's definitely a posh boy. That is a very lovely part of the world there. That little what's Faversham? No, what's it called?
I've got no idea.
Oh, this is unbelievable. You've shouted it out. I've let you have East Anglia and you don't even know where it is. Shocking behaviour, mate.
Anglia. It's the same part of the world. My
Yeah.
geography, my mum would say, is very poor. I am not good at where places are, which
What
is
is it?
really bad
What is the
because I
place
talk.
called? It's going to bother me now. It's not Faversham. It is. I'm sure he said it in the song as well. What's it called?
No,
Uh,
he says in a song, oh my God, what's the line?
Framlingham.
He doesn't say that in a song.
Framlingham in Suffolk.
He said, yeah, Suffolk. Sorry, I said Sussex, Suffolk. He says Suffolk in a song,
Yeah.
and I can't remember what song it is. Anyway,
It's a great song, right?
I'll brush up on my geography for next time.
Yeah. That's your homework, all right?
Yeah, okay. Oh
Oh,
my God.
fantastic. Well, look, this is your last song.
Okay.
And this is where you get to be an influencer, as the kids call it, and you get to turn the listeners onto something new. And this is the song that you think many people may not know that you would like them to hear.
That I think they wouldn't know.
They might not know.
Okay, they might not know. Oh, okay. Oh, let me think. What's a song that loads of people wouldn't know? Okay, actually, I've got an answer. There's an artist called Martin Luke Brown, who I think lots of people. I think he's brilliant. I think there's so many people that don't know who he is. And there's a song called "Damn, Look at the View," and it is just amazing. It's just brilliant. When I first heard it, there's this like big ending. It's very cinematic, very beautiful. And there's this big ending, and I remember playing it. I think it was on like the Central Line at rush hour, being miserable. And I just like really like took me by surprise. I think I got it recommended by somebody. My guitarist plays in Walla Gartland's band, and they're in Fizz together. That sort of like super group of amazing songwriters, Orla and Martin. So I got recommended it, and it's so insane. It's so amazing. So I think everyone should go and listen to that.
Say the name of the artist again.
Martin Luke Brown.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Really?
Well, we do make it nice and easy, and you for people to go and listen to that because we put together a little Spotify playlist of all the songs that we've been speaking about today, and obviously on that playlist we'll put some of your music on there. So what we haven't done yet is we've been harping on about everyone else's tunes, and we've not discussed yours. So this is where you get to shamelessly talk about everything you've been up to and everything that's coming out. So what's happening, Anya? Tell us all what's going down.
Oh my goodness. So I released an EP a couple of months ago. I've just come off tour, which was for that EP. And so I'm winding down now into the end of the year and writing the next project. But the last project was called Tales of a 20 something, because I am in my 20s and I'm telling my tales. And it was kind of a project that shared lots of different relationships that I'm sort of exploring in my 20s. So, there's a song about my mum on there, and there's a song about my best friends that I just spoke about. And there's a song about just my ex. There's a few about him. Lucky boy. And it kind of, yeah, it's just a little storybook of what I've been up to in my early 20s. And I'm really proud of it. I think some of the songs on there are the songs I'm the most proud of writing. Which is such a lovely feeling that you're not regressing and that you are
Absolutely.
getting better. And then I got to play it all on tour, which was incredible. It was my first
Yeah.
ever headline tour of the UK and of Ireland, and it was like so fun. We opened the show with the title track "Tales of 20 something,"
Yeah.
favorite song I've ever written at the moment. Because that changes daily, but that one's my favorite at the moment, and it was like such a cool moment to sing it with everybody, and then it's such an
Yeah.
actual song. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun, and I've sort of been working towards that EP for a year,
Yeah.
so nice to have it out.
And so if people want to check that out and they also want to kind of keep up to speed with what will be coming next, where's the best place to keep up to speed with you?
Instagram is probably where all of the information and announcements goes first, but TikTok, I try to be funny on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days.
Yeah.
But it's all just I'm just under my name, Anya Deane. I have a YouTube as well. Occasionally.
Wonderful. Well, if it's cool with you, and we'll tag you in it when this episode comes out. So if people haven't discovered you already, then we'll make it nice and easy for them to go and find you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Anya, it's been absolutely lovely having a little music chat with you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been gorgeous.
Absolute pleasure, mate. I'm going to press stop. Don't go anywhere.
Bye bye.